Our terrifying experience in the abandoned house. This happened during the summer of last year. My close friend's grandmother died, leaving her house in the countryside empty, so he invited three of us, A, the friend who invited us, myself and B, to stay at her place for 2 nights as a kind of holiday house. This house was separated from the main manor. When A's family went to stay for Buddhist services and such, they would always stay in the main manor, while the other house was only ever used for guests. So, because the main manor was still kept in the same state as when A's grandmother was alive, it was decided we'd stay in the detached house instead. It had a small kitchen, bathroom, and toilet. In addition, there were 2 Japanese-style rooms. It was more than enough for 3 guys and it wouldn't cost anything, so we had absolutely no complaints. It was about an hour drive from Tokyo along the coastline, right in front of the beach. We immediately ran for the water like idiots, haha. That night we started drinking and had a BBQ, and while chatting about trivial matters, we fell asleep. During the night I woke up needing to pee. I shone my miniature torch on A and B, who were snoring, and made my way to the toilet. The toilet was at the other end of the hall from the Japanese-style room. When I looked, there was light shining out from the frosted glass door of the toilet. I figured someone had gotten up to use it and forgotten to turn the light off, so I turned on the hallway light and went towards it. Without any suspicions at all, I turned the doorknob. It was locked and wouldn't open. I rattled the doorknob several times, but it refused to open. I was half asleep, so I knocked and asked, "Is anyone in there?" But there was no response. I just wanted to pee and get back to bed already, so I knocked again, complaining that whoever was in there needed to get out. Then something moved behind the frosted glass. Finally, I thought, but then suddenly my mind cleared, and I realized both my friends were asleep in the other room. No one was in the toilet. If I stay here, I'm going to see something I shouldn't, I thought. I hurried back to the room and, without turning the lights on, I shook the other two awake. I quickly told them everything, but maybe because they were still half asleep, they were just like, "A scary story, huh? Whatever. And you woke me up for that?" What was this? Even though I was trembling with fear, they were acting like it was nothing. But the fact that I was no longer the only one awake was still somewhat of a relief. Just as A was getting up to turn on the lights, complaining the whole time, there was a sudden bang from the hallway. The three of us froze. We went silent. From the hallway, we could hear the sound of a doorknob being turned. The sliding door to the room had been left open, and in the light coming in from the hallway, you could clearly see how terrified the three of us were. Then B said, "I'll go and have a look. It's probably just some hobo," and holding his pillow went to exit the room. There was nothing else we could do, so also holding our pillows, A and I followed him to the hallway. We could still hear the rattling doorknob. In the distance, we could also hear the roar of the waves. At the end of the hallway, light was definitely shining behind the toilet door. The knob. Suddenly, with incredible speed, B ran screaming towards the toilet. It scared the crap out of me. While the knob was still rattling, he screamed, "Cut that shit out and get out here now!" I was dumbfounded, but then suddenly the toilet light turned off. Surprised, B stopped moving. A had turned off the toilet light. We continued standing there like that. B's hand was still on the toilet doorknob. He said and opened the door. "Hey, it's open." Light from the hallway shone in. There was no one in there. There was nothing in there but the toilet. The window was slightly ajar, but there were bars on it so no person would be able to pass through. Waves crashed and bugs chirped. After a period of silence, A was like, "We're just half asleep. Plus, we were drinking." B and I agreed and laughed it off. A returned to the room and B handed me his pillow, saying he was going to pee first and went into the toilet. I needed to go as well, so I waited in the hallway. But then suddenly all the lights turned off. B in the toilet and A in the bedroom both screamed in terror. Of course, I did the same. "Die for me." A low, fragile voice, neither male nor female, reverberated throughout the entire dark house. We panicked. I think B was the most scared. We quickly turned the lights back on, but it was no good. The three of us were crying. We wanted to leave immediately, but we'd been drinking so we couldn't drive. Despite that, We didn't want to be in that room either. The main manor was no good either. With nowhere else to go, we waited on the beach until morning, and when the sun came up, we returned to the room. Whether it was because we'd calmed down, or the lack of sleep, or what, but we were unusually calm. We searched the toilet from top to bottom, but there was nothing strange there. When we asked A about it, he said he'd never heard anything strange about it either. In the end, we had no idea what happened, but we never wanted to go back there again.